The rain fell in heavy sheets, drumming against the cold stone walls of the old mansion. Inside, Isabella pressed her palm against the icy window, feeling the chill seep into her bones. Her heart raced as she watched a shadow move across the garden, flickering under the dim light of the broken lanterns. She remembered the promise she had made to him years ago, the promise of love that had bound them together. But love had twisted into something darker, something that demanded payback. The scent of wet earth mixed with decaying leaves filled her nostrils, making her stomach turn. A sudden crack of thunder made her jump, her breath catching in her throat. She could hear footsteps approaching, slow and deliberate, echoing through the empty halls. Each step pressed against her nerves like a hammer. She clutched the letter in her pocket, the plan she had written in careful detail, every line soaked with fury and longing. The candle flickered violently as the wind howled through the broken shutters, casting shadows that danced like specters on the walls. Memories surged unbidden, laughter in sunlit rooms, whispers under moonlit skies, promises carved into bark of ancient trees. And betrayal, the betrayal that had left her heart raw and her mind cold. She felt the weight of her decision pressing down, heavier than the storm outside. Every instinct screamed to run, but her eyes were fixed on the figure at the top of the staircase. He had changed. The warm smile she once loved had hardened into something cruel and calculating. The room seemed to shrink as he descended, each step measured, deliberate, carrying a power that sent shivers down her spine. She could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating, like smoke from a fire she could not escape. Her hand trembled as she adjusted the dagger hidden beneath her coat. It was not only love that had driven her here, but a thirst for justice, for revenge that would taste sweeter than anything she had imagined. The candle went out. Darkness swallowed the room, leaving only the sound of rain and the steady, mocking steps on the staircase. She inhaled sharply, tasting the metallic tang of fear and determination mingling together. A window shattered in the distance, startling both of them. He paused, tilting his head, sensing danger he could not yet see. Her pulse thundered in her ears, drowning out every other sound. She stepped forward, a whisper of movement, a ghost in the shadows. Every fiber of her body screamed for action, but patience was her ally. The storm outside mirrored the storm within her, wild and unpredictable. She saw his hand brush the banister, the slight tension in his shoulders, the faint quiver of his jaw. And she knew, in that instant, the plan was about to unfold. The promise of love had brought her here, but the plan for revenge would decide who walked away from the night alive. A lightning strike illuminated the room, revealing her face, calm yet determined, and his eyes widening in recognition. The air was electric, heavy with anticipation and dread, each second stretching longer than the last. She moved, silent but precise, the dagger poised to strike. The storm outside reached a deafening crescendo, as if nature itself was holding its breath. And then, a sound, faint at first, a creak behind her, a misstep in the dark. Her heart leapt into her throat. The balance of power shifted in an instant. And in that split second, the line between love and revenge blurred completely. Her eyes darted into the darkness, trying to locate the source of the sound. Every muscle in her body tensed, ready to react at the slightest movement. The dagger felt heavy and alive in her grip, as if it knew the fate it carried. The rain outside pounded against the roof, masking her silent steps as she shifted closer to the shadowed figure. He had not seen her completely, only a glimpse of movement, a faint shape against the shadows. Her breathing was steady, controlled, though her heart threatened to break free of her chest. The floorboards creaked under his weight as he moved closer to the center of the room, oblivious to the danger stalking him. She remembered the nights they had shared, the laughter, the warmth, the touch of his hand that once made her feel invincible. And then the betrayal. It had been cold, calculated, leaving her in ruins, leaving her love as ashes in her mouth. Now, she was the shadow, the unseen force waiting for the perfect moment. Lightning flashed again, casting fleeting light across his face. She noticed the subtle tremor in his hand, the faint hesitation in his step, signs that even he feared what might come. Her mind replayed the plan over and over, each movement, each contingency, rehearsed until it felt like instinct. A sudden clap of thunder shook the house, rattling the windows and sending a shiver down her spine. He froze mid-step, his eyes scanning the darkness, the sense of being watched creeping into him like a cold hand. She moved closer, silent as a cat, her shadow merging with the darkness around him. The metallic scent of blood and wet earth filled the room, making her stomach twist with anticipation. Her hand brushed against the cold wood of the railing as she ascended the staircase behind him, one careful step at a time. The distance between them shrank with every heartbeat. He turned abruptly, sensing the shift, and their eyes met. Shock registered on his face, fleeting but undeniable. It was the same look he had given her once, the one that had made her heart melt, but now it carried terror. Time seemed to stretch, elongate, each second weighted with the tension of what was about to happen. She raised the dagger, her reflection in the window briefly showing a face she barely recognized, fierce, resolute, unyielding. A sudden movement startled her, a shadow from the corner of the room, a second presence she had not anticipated. Her breath caught. It was an ally, or perhaps another threat. The storm outside intensified, rain slashing against the broken panes, lightning illuminating the room in harsh, blinding flashes. He lunged at her suddenly, a desperate attempt, his hands reaching for her with raw aggression. She sidestepped, feeling the rush of air as his fingers grazed her coat. The dagger found its mark in the air, a whisper of steel slicing through tension. He stumbled back, eyes wide, mouth open in disbelief. The other shadow moved closer, revealing a familiar face she had hoped never to see again. It was her brother, the one who had warned her of the dangers of revenge, the one who had begged her to stop. He stopped, frozen, watching the scene unfold, unsure whether to intervene or flee. The rain thundered outside, the wind whipping through the shattered windows, carrying a sound like 1,000 voices screaming. She felt the power of years of anger, of love twisted into vengeance, surge through her. Every memory of betrayal, every wound inflicted, every tear shed, condensed into one singular purpose. He fell to his knees, the weight of his own choices pressing down like the storm above. And then she spoke, her voice calm but edged with steel. The promise was kept, and the plan executed, but at a cost neither of them could yet see. Lightning struck again, illuminating the scene in stark clarity, the shadows of the storm dancing around them. Her breath came in shallow, controlled gasps, each exhale a reminder of the path she had chosen. The storm began to ebb, leaving a tense silence that seemed to throb in her ears. She lowered the dagger slowly, feeling the pulse of adrenaline fade into a hollow ache. He looked up at her, fear mingled with a flicker of recognition, and for a moment, the man she had loved returned. But that man was gone, replaced by the consequences of choices made, promises broken, and vengeance claimed. She turned toward the window, watching the rain fall in endless silver sheets, cleansing the world yet leaving her heart untouched. Her plan had worked, her revenge complete, yet the taste was bittersweet, coated with the residue of the love that had brought her to this moment. The shadows receded, leaving the room cold, empty, and echoing with the memory of what had passed. She knew this night would haunt her forever, the night love and revenge collided in a storm of fury, fear, and fatal attraction. And in the quiet aftermath, only one truth remained: a promise of love can spark a plan for revenge, and revenge always leaves a mark deeper than any wound of the heart. The storm had passed, leaving only the scent of rain and smoke in the air. She stood alone in the room, dagger still in hand, feeling the weight of every choice she had made. The echoes of his footsteps and her brother's warnings faded into silence. Her heart ached with the memory of what had been love and what had become vengeance. She dropped the dagger, letting it fall with a hollow clatter to the floor. The moonlight spilled through the broken window, casting a pale glow on her face. For a moment, she allowed herself to breathe, to feel the emptiness and the freedom. The past could not be undone, but the future was hers to shape. She walked toward the door, leaving the shadows and the storm behind. And with each step, she carried the promise that love could survive even the darkest of nights.